All right, team. Good morning. Good morning. We go again. Tuesday morning, ready to go again. Make sure you're going through your checklist. I'm going to be honest with you. If I went through my checklist this morning, I would not pass my own conditions to trade. I've had a terrible night's sleep. My dog has not been well. So she had me and my wife up at least 3 times last night to go outside, unfortunately. So I'll see. Maybe today I won't trade actively. We will see how we feel in a bit. Make sure you're going through your checklist. And let's dive into the charts. Okay, as always, what are we doing? We're going from the top Bollinger Band, right? The big old elastic band right up here at the top, fading down. You now have the 5-day about to cross the 20-day. That is a very, very bearish market condition. When we do this in the past, we start to have a downtrend, right? When we do it in the past, we start to have downtrends, things like this back here. We rotate from top bowl. Oh my gosh. Let's start the day off right. Top bowl, cross, and we have downtrend when we support 5-day. We are, however, in a range still on the daily. It's important to know that. But we are searching for this lower Bollinger Band. All right. I don't expect the market to dive much further down than this unless the Bollinger Band starts allowing price action to come down, which is going to need a trend like this. So either today or tomorrow, I'm expecting some sort of reversal back into these kind of levels to look to set a lower high to then come down. If we're going to drive lower, all right, in this month and this quarter, these are all the wicks we're going to look to clean up. All right, there's lots of buyers. All right, there's your deep seek wick. There's your tariff news wick. They're down here. And then all the buyers in before. Very, very good chance we come and clean all these up, even if we were going to come all the way higher. Even if we're going to go lower, it's a good chance that at some point this quarter we probably clean those up. But it's going to need the Bollinger Band to do this and the 5-day to do this and us to do this. So right now we're nowhere near this. I wouldn't be picking bottoms though, let's say that. I never like picking bottoms. Moving into an hourly chart. Let's have a look at the hourly. Okay, so yesterday we set this low, all right, on stream, and I said I didn't like that low because it's not a strong low, because it hasn't taken out the liquidity. It left low hanging fruit there, which is why I was very cautious about taking that counter trend long, which we did take. A reminder, it was definitely a counter trend long because the pro trend is down, right? The pro trend is down, counter trend down, counter trend down, and so forth. So yesterday we took the long here. We got stuck where? We got stuck at previous day low. That was the target. Once we got there, we're looking for a rotation lower, all right? Because we're looking for the market to set in its lower high, which it did. Once it set that lower high in, it went and took out all the liquidity down here and the daily level. And we've done the same thing overnight. We've put in a counter trend long and we've come back down. And right now we're coming back to test it. So what does that set up for the day? That sets up a couple plays because now we've got liquidity. If the trend, right, needs a bigger counter trend relief, then potentially we get relief over, I'd say over sort of 450s. All right, we have these anchored VWAPs. You can see I've put them in. We set a higher low here for that inverted head and shoulder, and we look for relief. Now, possibly all the way up to 660. You've got to bear in mind we have an old point of control and hourly imbalance here. We'd have to get through that first. And if it gets through this all the way up, at any point here, here, and here, it can set an hourly lower high, all right? Because this can be, we can treat this as one big leg. This can be a counter trend and a continuation. So you have to be aware of that. Any long today will be a squeeze potential long, looking for shorts which have possibly got trapped in the hole at the lows for a squeeze potential up. But this will just be relief to then be sold back into. Beyond that, there is possibility of building out a range down here. Anywhere between this and this, all right, we can build out a range here for a few sessions. Remember, we've got NVIDIA earnings on Wednesday after the bell, all right, and we also have news catalyst coming Thursday and Friday in the market. So that is the potential. If the market's going to remain weak today, all right, and it pops and fails, look above and fail, or just fails in here and we maintain this strong trend, we're going to be searching for liquidity lower. And where we're going to be searching is into big old daily levels, which I've drawn out above here. So this level right here, 240, 21,240. This level here is an hourly and daily wick, which was set off the tariff news and the DeepSeek, and the same with this 120, and then we get into way bigger pools of liquidity. Now 240, this level here, also coincides very, very nicely with the lower Bollinger Band, right? If we go back to the daily, that lower Bollinger Band right now is at 230s, all right? So we have some confluence there that if the market drifts that low, it's possible, not guaranteed, it's possible it puts in some structure down there. So those are the plays I'm looking for. Either a look above and a fail and a rotation down to here, a reclaim and a use of it maybe for a counter trend squeeze to here. If we get through that, the next target is going to be up here. And if we get through that, the next target is going to be all the way up here. So those are the things I'm looking at this morning. Let's put you back onto the main chart now so you can see everything lined up. These are the things I'm looking at. And then let's put an anchor on off this pivot yesterday, give us an idea where those sellers were from the afternoon. So that's where sellers came in strong from the afternoon. And let's also just put in a little box here for the Globex low, just so I remember where it is while we're trading actively throughout the day. How are we doing for time? 5-6 minutes. Have a look across the broader market. All right, the VIX is holding its gains. All right, it's holding gains, making higher highs and higher lows. So it's holding gains currently. Previous day close was above the previous day high. All right, so it's holding above 19. If it sets another bull flag here, then it has the potential to go and break out of previous day high, which is 2025. Obviously, any move like that, the market is going to get absolutely slapped. All right. When we look at all the MAG today, the MAG are all trading inside range. So you have Apple trading inside yesterday's range, basically flat and on VWAP. You have Microsoft inside yesterday's range, maybe a slight gap down, trading flat and on VWAP. You have Amazon trading inside yesterday's range, trying to hold on to a bid above previous day low, but again, is beneath previous day close right now, coming back to VWAP. Google, weaker, all right, that is weaker out of all of them. That is gapping down, failing its retest of previous day low. That is gapping down to fresh lows on the week. Meta trading sideways inside yesterday's range. Nvidia trading sideways inside yesterday's range with a gap down. So Nvidia very much looks like the market right now, the NQ, right? So I know all eyes are on Nvidia for tomorrow night. And Tesla also trading sideways with a slight gap down. So there you have it. Market in unison right now, not looking too pretty. So any long today will be a counter trend long. Let's go through, say some hellos in chat. See who's in here today. Good morning, Clint, Miguel, Jeff, Ramus, Marek, Vince, Ryan, Christy, Thumper, Peter, Glenn, DJ Noah, Cole, Stephen, Jack, Indicator, Crawford, Bruce, Andrew, G, Exister, Dopamine, Array, Jesse, Leron, Aid, Cat, Steve C, BU, Razorback. What's up, buddy? Good to see you here. Very, very old friend of mine. Michael Pope, Trentry, Blake Fosland, Myron, Ironclad, JD Florida Man, and Willow William. Good morning, everyone. So you should be set for the open then. I'm not looking to execute too much at the open. What I'd be very, very concerned about today, very similar to yesterday, is just this rotation here of a tightening of range. I know there's enough space here, you could argue, but I'd rather wait for either a failed breakout and a drive higher, and then I can think about the longs, either for reclaims of key levels, right, because this will look more like this, and then think about a short rotation once we get up to some key levels, all right, for selling and then flip short bias. The market feels heavy. It definitely feels a little bit on edge, but like we said, remember the daily. We are not far from that lower Bollinger Band. I don't expect us to sell any more than one more day in this market without some relief. Without some relief, I should say. We can keep drifting lower and lower and lower and lower. At some point, I would expect today or tomorrow we might get some relief. It doesn't have to happen, but a weekly model, those who have done the course, I'm not going to give too much edge around, but in the next 24 hours, I'd be looking for some relief, and then we can think about what happens. The news will be the drivers this week. It will absolutely be the drivers. But getting stuck at these same levels up here this morning. So we're just going to see what we get. We do have some news coming today. Let's have a look. 10 o'clock, consumer confidence and the Richmond Fed Composite Index. And then at 11:45, Fed Barr's talking. And then at 1 o'clock, he's talking again. So before lunch, I want to be out of my trades. I'm not interested in being in a trade when Barr starts to talk. We also, obviously, and you would have seen it yesterday, Trump and the European Union and NATO are starting to have a lot of talks about the conflict in Ukraine. They finally passed, I wouldn't call it a bill, but America basically didn't vote with the rest of Europe yesterday, put its own idea forward to ending the war over there. It was limited detail in it. NATO eventually backed it, even though I think it was the UK and someone else didn't agree with it. And Trump was with the French president most of yesterday. So you might get a bit of overspill from that today starting to hit the wire as well. So just be aware of that. Yeah, definitely a growing community here for sure. Peter Curry says, not in a rush to trade. I got a nice trade in London when we swept the London low and the sellers looked trapped and took it up to previous day low. That's a very nice trade. Yeah, very, very nice trade. Previous day low, previous day close are going to be big triggers today for me, because if shorts are stuck under here and we get acceptance back above here, this is where we get a short squeeze. The problem is we don't know how long that short squeeze is going to be, but that's where we get acceptance. Right, market starting to drive higher after taking this little low out here right now. But again, these are going to be key triggers today. So waiting to see how we shake out at the open. Market opening in 15 seconds or so. And then we're going to go from there, folks. We'll see what we get and go from there. Not in a huge rush. I would love to see a little price acceptance higher today, because I think it sets up a better trade. It doesn't have to be in the morning push. It can come later in the day. We can drive lower and then have some price acceptance in the afternoon if it wants. But let's just see. So market now open, letting it do its dance. Let's have a little look at the liquidity on the book, see if there's any big orders on here. Biggest order on the book right now is right down at 21,000 flat. It's 126 lots. So far this morning, back to normal size. Those 1,000 lots who were dancing around yesterday, all day yesterday, to be honest, have finally left. And if they were genuine buyers in the tape yesterday that didn't sell, I did see them popping up to sell their positions numerous times. If they were genuine buyers and holding them, they're definitely underwater this morning, because they were buying almost 200 points higher than we are now. So let's see, folks. Let's see. Either we get this sort of giant inverted head and shoulder type look where we're going to use this liquidity for a drive up here, or we're going to rotate down here. And if we fail that, we're looking for this level into here. And we're just going to let this do what it wants. I can move it to a 1 minute as we're at the open for you all. Quick look at the mag then. Tesla 1.9% down now. Nvidia trying to go red to green. Meta 0.62% down. Google about 1% down. Amazon 0.83% down. Microsoft the same, 0.83% down. And Apple finding a bid. It's 1 or just under 1% up today. Remember, Apple announced yesterday a $500 billion facility that they're going to build in Dallas, I think it was, based on AI, trying to invest in American or create American jobs and control the AI in America to satisfy Mr. Trump with the tariffs. I'm sure they would have done some deal which allows some relief on some red tape elsewhere for that, because there's no way they can build all their product here. They might be able to put it all together, but when it comes to the phones and stuff, if you were building those phones in America right now, you'd be paying $5 or $6 grand a phone instead of 1 or 2. So let's just see what we get. So far this morning, the push has failed. All right, underneath previous day low. So far, the push has failed, but we're still very, very early in here. Very, very early. This is the overnight low. And if we get, oh, don't want to move that. And if we get through that, this is the target down here. So order flow remains bearish so far. Just trying to be a little patient, let this shake out and do what it wants. Created a lot of volume overnight into 424-ish, that previous day low. Huge amount of volume created there. We start sort of reclaiming those levels, reclaiming the top side of the range, and I think there's a relief. It's a long way away yet. SPY looking very strong here. Good open on the SPY this morning. New highs of day in the session. Q's near the low of day in the session, so we've got some divergence there. Saradi, good morning. Slim, good morning. Bay Trader, good morning. Thank you for joining, everyone. Appreciate it. SPY printing new highs. So SPY is coming back up to try and take out its Globex right now. So if the Qs can join here, it will be interesting. Q's obviously got to get through VWAP. Oh, what he's forgotten to do every day. Where's our 930 print? Here it is. Let's do this. Oh, wrong one. Let's get that 930 print in so we know where it is. All right, so relative weakness in the Qs right now. So the SPY above its VWAP, above previous day close, above previous day low, as is the ES. The NQ and the QQQ not there yet. So divergence on the tape this morning. All right, it's because Tesla and Nvidia are in a sell, and obviously those are much, much heavier weighted towards the Qs than they are the SPY. We talk about it all the time. So probably healthcare or financial something having a better open this morning, driving the spiders a little bit higher here. So some divergence. Still not in a trade here, folks. I'm just letting this shake out. Like I said, I did not sleep well last night. Had a solid day yesterday. Banked some good money. I'm just going to be relaxed here and see what we set up later on in the day, not in a rush. And if I feel the fatigue leave me, then I'm going to look for a trade. I reckon I've had 3 hours kip max. So lots of coffee for me today. Like I said, if I did my checklist and I wasn't having to be here on stream and teach, I would be back in bed right now. I would not pass my checklist. No way. So let's see here. Let's see what happens here. I'm watching the ES to see how it reacts into previous day close and previous day low, because we've driven through it. We didn't take out Globex high and we're trading back down now. If it starts to find a bid in these levels, then there's a potential for the squeeze on the SPY and the ES. So versus 6,000-ish would be the level if you're trading ES right now. So if it can hold a bid there and turn that RBS level, then it has the chance to move higher. The VIX is starting to drift lower as well. Still trading inside its overnight in yesterday's range, but it is starting to trade downside here. So it's interesting here to see if the market finds a bid. Can this market find a bid for a squeeze up? If it can, I'm going to join. ES looking very, very good. Very, very good. Watching VWAP now. Starting to add into this for the squeeze up. Already up very, very nicely on this. I want to see if it can hold bids, ideally above VWAP. Ideally above VWAP. Otherwise, I'll just take some partials like now and see if we can re-hold this bid. And we're going to look to see if it can firm up. Like we said, if it firms up above these levels here and then above here, we get a nice squeeze day higher. All right. If it's just a squeeze to fail, then thesis goes off. I just grabbed a little piece there in rotation. If it firms up, I will add into it. Don't want this to come really back below 70s really. I would rather it just held this pivot here. So stop break even in here, probably going to get tagged right now. So what was that? Almost 30 points. So like I said, lower high possible. ES starting to let go, coming back towards PDCs. ES looks much better out the two. Should probably be looking for longs in ES this morning if I was going to trade it. All right, so break even on the runners there, locked in some good money. No strength in the Qs. So every pop so far this morning being sold in the Qs. ES still got a chance to hold here. Back to VWAP. Where is... Make sure I've cleaned up the VWAP from yesterday. Let's get rid of this. And let's get one on here from this morning's bid. All right. That's a true VWAP from New York. Let's get that back on. ES holding its VWAP very, very nicely here. Like I said, out of the two indexes, it looks much, much better. You can see ES is flat right now in Q down on the session. Everything in a sell. Apple starting to sell back. Tesla getting absolutely hammered, 3.3% down. Not touching this long side now. That last drive was a good chance for it to hold, and it didn't do it. It's a potential expansion lower here now. As bulls tried to take that trade I took, probably didn't get out, and now they're stuck. So possible rotation into the Globex lows. Remember, that low in London was basically 300s or 301s, and we swept it to 285 before turning upside. So if it's going to come back into it, we're looking for the move into here. I'm not particularly interested in trading this short side down here. I'd rather wait and see a reaction. There you go, it's reaction off the VWAP on the spiders. It wants squeeze relief. The thing is right now, traders will not want to take fresh short positions here as we get near the lower Bollinger Band. So we've had a lot of fear in the market. It will want some relief. The question is, can it get it? So we're all the way back to VWAP again. So remember, we can be a choppy day inside this today. If we stay in this range, that's just a liquidity building range, and then we have to think about trading the edges. That'll become more clear after 10:30 though. So seller here at 400, 100 lot there at 400. Here's VWAP again. ES looks so strong. It really wants to get going. So pretty big bounce there. Your ATR just went all the way up to 52 points on that M1 candle. So just be careful with your sizing here, team. If we hold bids, it has got a chance to squeeze. If it doesn't, we can come back for that Globex low. We're sort of in no man's land right now. If you look at the Globex high, Globex low, those are the overnight levels. We're right in the middle. Let's just see what we get. ES got a chance again to hold PDC and PDL and VWAP. It's the big difference. ES right now is trying to hold a bid up here above these key levels. That's the big difference right now. That's the strength in the spiders versus the Qs. Qs are looking much weaker. They cannot get above the New York Open, previous day low, previous day close, New York VWAP, overnight VWAP, and they have this as a low-hanging fruit if they're going to come down. You can see the structure of it is not particularly pretty right now. Just big move up, big move down. In terms of M1 candles, 50 plus points, right? 50 plus points up, 50 points down. It's a jostle here. If they start breaking down, I'm not going to take this because it's high risk, but we should trade into here if it takes it. I don't like trading lows to get lower. But if there's fear in the market, maybe it does it. We have a buyer on the tape down at 300 right now, so that would make sense if they're going to drift it. But you're still trading inside of current range, and ES has relative strength. VIX trying to find a bid here, 1950s. Just going to let this shake out. Sort of broke a rule already, really, didn't I? I said I wasn't going to take a trade today and already taken one. It just looked too good. I wanted to be in it if it was going to go. So do me a favor, folks. Over 100 of you here right now, smash that like button for me. Share the stream on your socials. here every single day, Monday to Friday. Remember, if you're looking to trade with Traderify, their sale will end at the end of this week. So 30% off every single account right now, including straight to funded. And that sale will end of the week. They're not like Apex where they run regular sales. The sales are getting less and less and less, and the pricing is getting more and more and more expensive. So if you want to trade with them, probably now is one of the better times to do it. Apex also has a sale on that lasts a little bit longer. I think it's 80% sale right now on Apex. If you're interested, you can use code FZT for both of those. So just dancing sideways, you can see, like, this is why I'm losing interest. We are in the middle of the range right now. You can see it on the higher time frame chart. All we're doing right now is dancing between Globex levels. We haven't swept Asia. We did arguably sweep London, but not in a New York session, all right? Not in a live New York session. Most of the volume created all the way up here. And you can see it in the H1. We are continuing in the H1. Lower highs and lower lows. So if we get a break of structure here, we expect a lower low, and then we'll be looking for a lower high. And if we fail the lower high, then we get squeeze relief. Those are the two options right now. Shorts definitely paying this morning. Sticking with the trend, paying this morning. The opposite to what I was doing. I was looking for the relief, but shorts are definitely paying this morning. ES coming back down to previous day low. All right, these are big levels. I'd say ES here into 94 with a wash down to 91 is key. If it lets go of 91, it's going to back test 89-ish. If it lets go of that, it's going to go for that overnight low into 78. Market very, very heavy. Tesla continuing to sell. Nvidia 1.2% or 1% down now. Meta is moving very quickly. Meta 0.75% down. Google just under 1% down. Amazon over 0.5% down. Microsoft just under 1% down. Apple just about hanging on green, but giving its gains back. What did I see that made me try that trade? I can't remember where it was, but it was, I think it was this move here, right? It was that the VIX was starting to fade and that ES was trying to hold above here and print. So I was, in my mind, taking this high out. I'll get a small size on. If we firm up, I'll add more size on, but we never firmed up. So it was a scalp. It was really just trading in line with the ES and the VIX. I was looking to get that early entry long in case it wanted to go, which it didn't. So took my money, took the break even on the rest. I think I said 70s was my stop. So right here, it needed to hold this as an RBS level. It didn't. So I stopped out there in the money. So ES now taking out that low pivot. It can wash back down to an RBS level in towards 89.90. Again, if it fails that all the way down to 78 here on the ES is possible. Very, very messy inside these higher time frame levels right now. Definite fear in the market. Remember, I don't want to short as we start drifting into 200. We've still got 100 points left to get there. But as we get closer and closer to sort of 240, 220, that is sort of the max play that I think the market will go to today. Unless it has a major, major fear moment and we're really going to break down through that Bollinger Band, which very, very rarely happens do we get a close under the Bollinger Band. I think once or twice in the last 2 or 3 years. Do not want to long this yet. We're coming into London low, but we didn't sweep it. I'd rather see this come down here a bit like yesterday and then think about this. Or if it stays heavy, it can come down for this level. This is the daily level here. If it really lets go, there's room all the way down here. So sticking with the short so far this morning. Letting this build out. Trickier day because you can see the last 2 days, the damage has been done. Look at the size of those daily candles the last 2 days. The damage has been done the last 2 days to the market. All right, the good shorts were like up here on the failed breakout and on that push up yesterday, which we took. Now you're shorting into Bollinger Band, into liquidity levels down here. It gets really interesting. If it snaps today and does this, which is very unlikely because of the Bollinger Band, but it doesn't mean it's not possible, that would cause a major panic moment in the market if it did this. I would imagine that will more likely come off news. If Nvidia is very weak on earnings, if Nvidia gets sold on earnings, then we maybe get that kind of move. So coming into and around those Globex levels right now. You can see here's your Globex low right here. We're coming into it, this orange box. And if we wash that, how we react then at 286 becomes key. All right, do we trade back inside, or are we going to fail all the way down to 244s at that point? Market feeling very heavy. SPY is still holding up, right? SPY is nowhere near its Globex lows. It would have to come right down towards 78. Currently trading at 98. So it's got another 20 points to catch the NQ up. That's the strength in the ES right now. So now we've swept that level on the NQ. If it's going to keep going, then we've got to look for that daily level down here, 240s. Remember, that is basically the lower Bollinger Band as well. All right, this is why I'm a bit cautious about the short today. Like, maybe I should have been thinking about this breakdown here for this and a runner for this. Maybe that's what happens when you get 2 or 3 hours sleep. See the market in a weird way. Buyer on the tape down at 21,250. All right, remember our level is 240, so he's front running that. 243s is the level if it's going to get to that daily level. And the hourly just remains very, very bearish here. If we trade back inside in the next hour bar, we have a chance to just build a range out here for a session. And then we either abuse this range upside or downside tomorrow or later in the day. NQ at an S1. Yeah, that would make sense. It's the overnight low as well. I don't use those traditional pivots, but I know exactly what you're talking about. S1 and R1 levels based on maths. Yeah, I don't use them personally, but it doesn't mean you can't use them. They normally hold up pretty well. They're pretty good for targets, but I prefer drawing mine in manually, so I know exactly where the liquidity is manually. If we start breaking down under 21,250, the only buyer on the tape right now, all right, there's a 76 lot at 100, and then at 21k flat, 129. Yeah, they're totally JD. I mean, that's because they're based on math, right? So there's two different varieties. There's the standard ones and then the fib-based ones. They're basically they're based on extensions of previous days, right? So once you see the previous day, it will work out extensions based on that ATR range, which makes total sense. Market loves to trade into and around ATRs. It very rarely likes to go too far beyond that. That would be a 3 sigma level. So if you trade it down to an S3, for example, but normally it won't get that far unless we have major news event. Same with daily standard deviations. Same with the Bollinger Bands, right? The Bollinger Bands are 2 sigma or 2 standard deviation from a 20-day moving average. That's why the market doesn't like to go too far beyond that, right? It uses it like an elastic band, ping pongs between them. When we're in a trend, it will stay between like the 5-day and a Bollinger Band. So if we're going to stay bearish for the remainder of this quarter, or maybe multiple quarters, we will probably trade between the 5-day and the lower Bollinger Band over and over and over again, occasionally getting a mean reversion to the 20-day, and then back to the 5-day and the lower Bollinger Band again and again and again. We do the same thing if we go into a bullish trend. Market is not like, the overall market sentiment is not bearish. We are bearish on multiple timeframes, but if you were to zoom out and look at a monthly or a weekly, it would be quite hard to argue we're bearish. Definitely on a monthly. This is just where we're really coming back to is testing an old high. So here's the wash then. While I'm monologuing here, probably should have been thinking about this trade. So here is your target down here. So I would take a partial into this move once we get there, or as we start to approach it, front run it. That's your daily liquidity. That's where the market wants to go to. That is the lower Bollinger Band. What's that trading at? 205. I've got the lower Bollinger Band, so I'm having to move around my mic here to see it. But this is daily liquidity pool here, and then 205. If we wash that, we can think of move down into here, 113s. All right, but these are starting to come into some pivotal levels now. The low for, to make sure I get this right, 945 will be the low from when Trump announced the tariffs. and 775 is the low from the DeepSeek flush. If you remember that Friday and Sunday, that would be the low from the DeepSeek. Fear definitely in the market. So bulls tried to look for that play I looked for and probably got trapped there, not taking break evens, which is why it's important to use stops. So coming down into 21,200, no buying dips here. There's absolutely no reason to be buying dips here. I've probably missed a very good trade here. So washing that level now. How we react here is key. Do we react and need some relief upside, or does the fear keep setting in? Remember, every 5-minute bar this morning, every 15-minute bar, we are just printing straight down and gunning for lows. It's very possible, if there's max fear in this market, that we just keep expanding lower. We are right into these daily levels now. I'm going to remind you, we are right into this lower Bollinger Band. Look how close we get. If we snap this, then we can come for this guy here. That's your tariff low, and that's your DeepSeek low. And then these are all the lows which I've been saying since last year that need to be cleaned up. Since down here, since November, these probably need to be cleaned up. But I'm not expecting the market to come and clean these up today, right? Because that would be like another whole Sigma move down there. That's very, very unusual. Not impossible, but normally the market doesn't like to go beneath or above the standard deviations, right? Definitely doesn't like to do it often. Occasionally, very occasionally you get it, but it doesn't like to do it often. Very nice, Peter. So from that Asia London breakdown, yeah, while I was monologuing, probably should have taken that. Like I said, that was a very nice, easy trade. Retest of it, failed into easy moves down here. Pay yourself a little bit into this liquidity and then hold runners in case it shows major, major weakness on the session. ES coming down into an interesting level here as well as the spiders. These are big, big levels. Have a look at this daily level. SPY, where can it trade down to? That DeepSeek low. Make sure I line these up the right days. The 3rd and the 27th. So 3rd, we're starting to get into 92.60s on the SPY. Where's the 27th? Above it. Okay. All right, so it's starting to try and find a bid here and reclaim these levels. It's still very, very bearish. Remember, anything long today is counter trend, like we talked about. If it's possible, it creates some excess down here and reclaims that. That is a possible move. That will be much, much better into the new hour bar. We can think about that hourly transition like I always talk about. Remember, we've had break of structure on the hourly. Retesting where we broke down from will be a test into sort of 90s, 80s or 90s, this kind of level here. If it stays heavy here, then we're going to reject the hourly lows and potentially look for lower prices. If it reclaims that, we might get acceptance back inside the last hourly bar. If you're like, what are you talking about, Alex? You're talking gobbledygook. It's this here. This was downtrend, downtrend, break of structure, downtrend. That would be your SBR level to go lower. If we reclaim this level here, we can reprice this hourly bar in the next hour, right? Not in this hour. The next hour starts in like 4 minutes. So that is something I'm aware of. Starting to look like it wants to drift higher here and reprice it. I would much rather it waits and waits and waits and waits to do this to the new hourly bar. There's major, major relief here. Coming up to that SBR level. Remember, support becomes resistance. Old support becomes resistance. So do they sell this for the move back down? If they reclaim it, you can get squeeze potential. I really would rather they wait until a new hourly bar, a new 4-hour bar to do this. Yeah, very nice. Peter Curry took it out. A took it, locked out, not giving any of my day back. 5,661. Lovely. Thanks for the read, as always, Alex. You're welcome. Yeah, consumer confidence at 10. Yeah, exactly, Andrew. So big, big level here. Big SBR level. This here is a SBR. Support. Old support becomes resistance. This is the Globex low. where they found bids. If they fail this, we go back for this. If they reclaim it, we open up squeeze potential to rebalance the last hourly bar. I really don't want them to do it now. I really want them to wait for the new hourly bar. Be much, much better for the market if they wait. It's a much better play. Jack got the reversion bounce. Nice. I mean, it's a very risky play, that. I will say I've noticed you like to try and take the reversals. Just be a little bit careful when you do that, because there's nothing set yet to say it will move higher, but you made your money. And if that's how you play, that's how you play. Just be careful. Fear and greed at factor 25. Yeah. So max fear in the market right now. Yeah, great trade, Aid. Keep going, buddy. I know we keep talking about it. That's a nice trade. It might mean you've got to make even more now in the next few weeks, because I know your max, if that's all on one account, that max before was at 3.5 something. But your trailing drawdowns will have disappeared and you're looking good. So let's see. This is the dance now. All right, this is the dance. Here you've got some imbalances. If they hold this and set a higher lower time frame, and then reclaim this, we look good for a squeeze. Otherwise, H1 can reject this and break down and go lower, like we talked about. We have another 1 minute and 10 seconds until that H1 bar. So let's just see, folks. We're setting up some nice plays here. Oh, different one. Nice. Oh, Aid, even better. On Top Step X, so you can make as much as you want. Fantastic. Yeah, I have noticed that in you, Jack, a little bit. It's not me telling you what to do, but I've definitely noticed you like to try and get those mean reversions. Just be careful with those. Make sure if you're taking it, I don't mind it if you're really going to, I mean, you can do what you want. If you're taking it here, just make sure your stop is in. Never get to a point where you're moving your stop lower and hoping, yeah, because that is where you will get in trouble. Very, very, what you're trying to do is the hardest trade in the book. You're trying to get timing. Oh, thank you, Brian. You're trying to get timing absolutely spot on. Very, very hard to do that. Mr. Slim got 1,500 on the combine. Don't know how to break it. Just try and create rules. So I used to be very similar to you, Jack, and then I put these red lines, the flow zones, on my chart so that I try and obey them. Even today, I took a long here, right, for this, but my stop went straight in. I was looking for that squeeze, but I had a low to pivot off. If you were trying to grab this long as we drifted down, that's where you're going to get in trouble. So far, rejecting SBR level like we talked about. If we're going to go lower for H1 expansion, which is right now, so the H1 trap will be beneath this and a turn. H1 expansion will be beneath this and a run down to 100s or 120s, whatever we have it as, 111. So here's your H1 and H4 bar. So we're watching this low. They can trap new H4, H1 sellers here if they do like a little wick and a turn inside. If they get continuation, we're going for next leg. All right, so far, SBR held up nice, didn't it? That was your SBR level. Trying to remind myself, like, not to actively trade today. I'm very, very tired. There's a good chance I mess up today if I trade. Oh, Mr. Slim, you're a brave man. 15-second chart. I don't look at anything under a 1 minute. Most of my trades are based off hourly 5 and 15s. 5 and 15 continuing to drift lower here. So there is the take of liquidity versus the H1. We have news hitting the wire here as well. Remember, big volume coming in on the sell there. All of the Mag 7 green. Bitcoin getting absolutely destroyed. 4,800 points down on the day. Everything in the market bleeding other than the VIX, obviously, which has printed new highs, right? Took out yesterday's previous day high. So where do we drift down to now? If it stays heavy, 114, and then into this block all the way down here. So we are right now, we are right on that lower Bollinger. We are right on that lower Bollinger. All right, so your short thesis, your RR gets worse and worse. It can do this, all right? It can do it. It's just very unlikely, but it can do it. But RR is getting worse and worse by the second as we keep going lower. I'm still watching these same levels here. Matt Trader, good morning, my friend. You are good every day here with you. Thanks for everything. You're welcome, Matt. You're welcome. Hopefully you guys are not just using me as like a signal when you're learning the thesis of why. That's why we go through the higher time frame in the morning, so that you can sort of plot out your chart with the same thesis. So when I'm not here, you can trade all by yourself. And this thing's just getting absolutely cooked, isn't it? It's getting wrecked going lower right now. And all those buyers getting hammered. At the 100 MA, is it really SS? Is that on the daily chart you're talking about? Wouldn't surprise me. 2 sigmas of the SMA, so you'd be 2. Yeah, that would make sense. Let me where is it? 200 right now. $200 down at 5, 6, 9. Just having a look at some of the higher time frame dailies. Yeah, spiders can't get back above that 50. In trouble here on the dailies. Hey, Christy, I'm still learning as well. I'm still learning. There's never a day in trading where you stop learning. When you get to that point, it's pure arrogance. That's when the market will teach you a lesson. It's never a complete job, the market. Even yesterday, I had to go and look at myself after I got frustrated on stream yesterday. That was a learning lesson for me to remain calm. I had to go and punish myself with a 5K run and meditation afterwards before trading with the team in Discord in the afternoon. Exactly, Peter. Yeah, Peter knows there's always something to learn. The moment you think you know the market is a moment it will teach you a very nasty lesson. When that overconfidence steps in. It's good to be confident. There's a difference between confident and overconfident. I've definitely been that person before. Okay, so it's trying to find a little bit of a bid here, right? But notice the pullback is with low volume, all right? As we're going sideways, it's with low volume. So if we get increased volume, it's likely to go downside. If we get an increased volume bar upside, then maybe bears have had enough. But remember, we are dancing around that lower Bollinger Band. I don't like the shorts down here right now, even though I know there is liquidity it can aim for. Just based on my system, remember I just trade my system, you can trade your system. I know that the RR is getting worse and worse. If this is going to be an outlier, black swan type of day where we close well beneath the Bollinger Band, then it's fine. It means I miss one play every 2 or 3 years. I'm absolutely fine with that. Totally, Douglas, and that's something I'm going to have to get used to. That's something I'm going to have to get used to. But I'm not. It's not even about the chat. It's more self-reflection on my reaction to stuff. You know, I need to control myself, how I react, how I trade, how I talk. Lovely, Max. Good work. Great work. So Max locking in $950. Tariff talks is real serious. Yeah, very, very serious. Very serious. Will have major knock-on effects in the market and likely to be inflationary pressure. So you cannot be dipping this. There's no reason to be dipping this. Remember, I had a go. I can't remember where it was. Where was 70s? Must have been here. I had to go in this here for this little pivot looking for that. And I sold here and the break even here. And I haven't touched it since. See how we go down here if some volume starts to step in or not. Just drifting lower. That H1 bar, H4 bar, just expanding lower. All right, not trading inside this at all. We got SBR here and breaker structure and now drifting lower. every single pot being sold into. They do not have an interest in buying this market back right now. They just want to get out of their positions. Remember, we've been very, very frothy. VIX new high of day here. What will be very interesting is Nvidia tomorrow. All right, that is definitely the darling of the stock market. I don't even know how many percent that's up over the last few years. If Nvidia comes out with a monster earning and monster guidance forward, the reaction will be key. If they start buying everything back, it'd be interesting. If it's all been priced in and really this is, you know, the air being let out the balloon, I wouldn't want to be a buyer in the market. I haven't been a long-term buyer in swing in my ETFs for ages and ages and ages, because I felt like we needed a 10, 11, 12% pullback at least. And I'd still like to see, I'd love to see this, the lower this market can go for my long-term potential wealth and equity, the better, right? Because we know over time the market will only print higher. It's built, the way the ETFs are built, the way they're rebalanced is to only print higher. So over time, it's a long-term buy, but the lower we can go, the better value we can buy it. A bit like Berkshire and Hathaway, you buy good value in good stocks, in good names, and then you just let it work for you for the rest of your life and don't think about it. Continuing to drift lower here. So Spider's getting close. 92.50s, somewhere around that. All the way down to 590.30 on the ETF. That's a big level on the SPY. That's a big daily level there. A ton of wicks down here, actually. I'm going to just make sure this is really accurate. We fail that, then we fail Wednesday the 15th, and we come all the way back down. Whoa, to 85s. This in here. Sorry, team. We're going so low, I'm having to add lots of drawings to my charts to make sure I can see the levels. Right, you know that I trade with those boxes. I like to see support and resistance, supply and demand, whatever you want to call it, as boxes. So it's trying to find a bit of a bid here. Remember, every single bid so far has been sold into. We are at that lower Bollinger Band, which is why I'm not really thinking about a short right now. That's amazing, Max. Congratulations. Sounds like you've finally really started dialing into the system here. So Max saying, since last Wednesday's had 17 trades, 2 fails and 15 green trades. Profit and loss on those is 6,971. That's very nice. So basically in 1 week, you're up $7,000. So if you just keep repeating that, slowly, 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 you are going to have a very good year. Just stick to the system. Make sure you take those losses like you clearly are. You know when they're failed trades because you've let them become failures. That's the important thing. We will not win every single trade. Take the losses, eat the losses, congratulate yourself, reward yourself for taking a good loss. It's as important as taking a good trade. Remember, a good loss is a good trade. This can still break down and come to here. This will be extension of the lower Bollinger Band, but this feels like the target right now. I'm not taking this short because I know that we are at the lower Bollinger Band, so I don't like it, but this feels like the liquidity pool it wants to go to. If it's going to get really heavy, like I said, I will miss this whole move, and I'm okay with missing this move because when we do these expansions past Bollinger Bands, they are once or twice every year or so. This is the equivalent of a black swan. I do not mind missing that event. I do not mind missing that event. All of you guys are killing it. Grounds Hero up $800 across 2 combines. Lovely. Right, sellers are on the book right now, way up at 350, 375, 100 lot of both of those. Notice I haven't talked about 1,000 lot today or a 3,000 lot. They're not around today. All that nonsense yesterday was them positioning bids to try and drag the market up to get short into the previous day low that we talked about. They were getting big size on at previous day low yesterday. Anyone watched the tape yesterday afternoon, you see them become propping it up and then become sellers, propping it up and then becoming sellers. So I don't even think it was a hedge. I actually think it was someone trying to prop up to get the short for this rotation back down. They wanted more size on the tape. Once we got to previous day low, they absolutely tanked it. Still a buyer here at 21k flat. It is possible to drift down here. Like we said, we have this huge area. It can come and clean up all that daily liquidity down here if it wants. It's a big wick. And if it really lets go down here, this should be a later in the week trade or next week trade. It shouldn't be a today trade unless we're sort of black swan fear. Yes, shaping up to go lower. Crawford, 1,840. I'm out for the rest of the day. That's on one take profit trader valuation. Lovely work. Lovely work. So you're over halfway there. Take profit, you have to trade 5 days, right? Is that correct? Or if they change that now, can you do a 2-day like everywhere else? I don't know. Maybe you lot can tell me. I remember you used to have to trade 5 days on take profit to pass. 5 days, still 5 days, yeah. So they just changed, they took out the daily loss limit, right? But it's a 5-day pass. Still drifting low. It feels like it wants to gun for those levels that we've got marked out. Definitely feels like that's where it wants to gun for. Cannot be long in this. All right, you cannot be looking for dips in this market. It will punish you. It is in a multi-time frame. Trend short right now. Confirmed by that last hour where we slammed against this level here. This orange box was your SBR. That was your good risk and bear flag for continuation. There's a TP1. This is TP2. And these are runner situations. Market really, really heavy. 1.30% down now on the NQ. It can easily get to 2%. That's a normal down day. Thanks, Peter. Yeah, it's a shame I'm so fatigued today and not really actively trading it. But hey, it happens. But yeah, I appreciate it. And I appreciate you turning up and supporting the stream every day as well. It means a lot. All of you turning up means a lot. It's very, very rewarding to trade with people on stream rather than solo by myself. Maybe we can get some more likes. 60 likes on stream, over 100 of you watching right now. Maybe you can help me grow this stream and share it with your communities on your socials. Crawford saying, I have 4,000 to go instead of 3,000 because of the consistency. Yeah, I understand. That's all right, though. If you're putting up big numbers, it's okay. So drifting lower. We're getting very, very close to that next daily target here. That's sort of 12 level. That's a daily liquidity target. A daily and an hourly, sorry, I should say. I think it's an hourly. Let me just zoom out and triple check. Yeah, hourly wick into, I've actually around 13. And if we get through that, then we can trade down all the way down into that Friday, Sunday low that we put in back in, it was Jan 31st into the Sunday open of the 2nd. That will be the tariff. That's got to be the tariff one, right? That's the tariff low where Trump was talking about the tariff on Friday and freaked the market out. If we get through that, then we can go down to sort of 750, which will be the low that we put in on the DeepSeek news. So those are the two lows we're aiming for. So this is H1. This is tariff. This is DeepSeek down here. This is DeepSeek. And then these down here are all the big daily levels where it needs to clean up. I didn't think it would do it today, but you never know. You never know. Thank you, Gus. So just keep holding your runners. If you're still in this, I would say maybe a little partial into and around here, and then a runner into here. And then if it really lets go, You get a runner into there, you're going to get another 300 points out of that if it does it, which would be amazing for you lot. We are through the bowl right now. All right, we're trading through the bowl. So normally when we do this, we end up closing inside the Bollinger and leaving a wick. Doesn't mean we have to do it. Remember, we can get days where it breaks the probabilities. That's what the market does. It breaks probabilities and gives anomaly days. We can get a kind of black swan type event. I wouldn't say it's a black swan, but in terms of probability, it is a bit more like that. We are examining China's non-tariff barriers and was that crypto policies? I was trying to read that as it hit the wire. Currency policies in reciprocal tariffs. So a lot of tariff news coming out this morning. Okay, so next H1 level taken. I'm going to delete that now. We can delete this as well. All these levels getting taken as we drift lower. Big expansion here in this H1. After I blew my last account, your voice came into head saying, size down, man. And I did. I passed the combine and I'm close to payout using just 1 or 2 M&Q, giving my edge breathing room. There you go. It's the key to the market. It is the key to the market is not oversizing. All right. If you don't oversize, you can give yourself a little more wiggle room and then you can start scaling once you're comfortably up or scaling into winners. Much, much better way to trade. Looks like we're going for the Jan 31st low. Yes. Yes, it does. It feels like we're going towards that. I would say in there's probably some structure in that Jan 31st. Let me zoom all the way back to it, see if I can find it. Right, I would say we found a pivot bid around where we are now, down into 2150. If we let go of 2150, we go to 980s. So if we let go of 2150, we can go to 980s. But 2150-ish is where we put in like a W pattern, and then we pivoted above, pulled back inside, held it, and we actually tested it twice and held it twice. So buyers came in there. It feels like it just wants to drift lower and lower and lower. Like, look, every single pop today is being sold into. So it looks very, very good for a continuation lower here. I'm stuck here like a lemon, not in this short, unfortunately. But there we go. That's how it is sometimes. I don't mind sticking to my rules. I probably shouldn't have taken any trades at all today. So getting close into that 2150 and we drip through that, we're going to keep going down. I'd watch, if you're trading the ETFs, I'd watch SPY into 590. It's kind of the same level as that 590 pivot. And if you're trading the Qs, I'd watch it into 508.50 or 508.60 maybe. If you're trading the ETFs. Remember, we've still got 10 minutes left until the initial balance. And we can still have an inside initial balance day. All right, we're outside. We've got an outside day on the daily, but we can still be inside on the IB. We're currently printing 350, 351, 354 point initial balance is a very large initial balance. All right, just drifting lower. And there's a bit of size on the tape at that 21,000. Where is 21,000? Here, bit of size there. Just under 200 lot there. Yeah, this is certainly starting to look very, very nasty. Let's have a look at the mag, shall we? Tesla, 7% down. Nvidia, just under 4% down. Meta, 2.7% down. Google, 1.7% down. Amazon, 2.4% down. Microsoft, 1.4% down. Apple, relative strength, only 0.60% down. But you can see the mag in a sell as the VIX continues to drive, right? 21.28 high of day on the VIX now. Remember, we're in bullish market when the VIX is in the low teens. We are not in the low teens. There is more news now coming out of Mexico and the tariffs. There have been no trade conflicts with the US that could derail a possible deal ahead of tariff deadline next week. So maybe some bullish sentiment there, or attempt at some bullish sentiment. I still think we should trade lower. We've got this low. We should probably trade lower. But we're extended from the flow zones. We're extended from everything. Everything's up here right now. All right, so you'd need this kind of area to reject or reclaim for the bullish sentiment. I wouldn't. Why does it do that sometimes? I wouldn't be bullish until we get over that. And that's first sort of relief we've seen all day, and it's still not that big relief, but it's the first sign of some relief back towards the flow zones. Remember, the momentum remains bearish right now in the market. There's still low-hanging fruit trades below on the daily and hourly. We are coming back towards that Bollinger Band into, where did we say it was? Let me just double check this. Around the 50s now, maybe. It should still be sold into until it proves otherwise. Every pop should be sold into until it proves otherwise. There's low-hanging fruit to go for lower. If it's going to get relief, we can... Very, very steep. There is liquidity here that we can think about later in the day. All right, if we do something like this, we can think about this liquidity and then getting up here. Again, this will be your counter trend to then go short from. Any longs today, just like yesterday, like we talked about on stream, when I got frustrated, I'm still going to maintain the longs are counter trend. Even yesterday, that long that worked out up until lunchtime towards previous day low is a counter trend long. Look at the H1, understand market structure. Still think you look good. You look very good to just keep holding on here until it proves otherwise. Until it proves otherwise. I think maintains its sell. Drifting lower. VIX getting a bit of a topping tail kind of look here on an M5. It's not closed yet. 30 seconds left. Want to be a bit careful with that. If it wants to come and check out previous day high again on the VIX. Still expect this market to move lower first. If we're going to think about any type of mean reversion long today, it's going to be very, very hard, very, very high risk, but we're going to need to see it clean out some levels, leave an excess low, and then pivot. Otherwise, I'd almost rather not touch it. We're coming into some key areas here on the daily. And we're trading right back into this daily low that we put in from February the 3rd right now. What did that just say? US Treasury Secretary. Bank regulations have pushed borrowing to an unregulated financial system, but does not see a stability problem. Isn't that a contradiction if I've ever heard one? All right, market trying to find a few bids here. Hopefully you've been paying yourself. Hopefully you've been paying yourself this morning. Most of you would have taken a short from in and around 300 on that RBS, if not before. So you're up 300 points right now. Hopefully you've paid yourself a little bit of money on a 300-point move. Liquidity on the book here. They're starting to stack now. There's a 900 lot here. So finally a player coming in. 21,050 around there. There is a 900 lot on the tape there. So that is that sort of W pivot we talked about, wasn't it? 0.50. If we let go of 0.50, it can trade lower. But it's that kind of zone. That kind of zone of interest. And they're starting to stack some bids around there. So around 21,050, 21,037, 21,000 flat. This can still trade lower. There is still low hanging fruit it can go for. It's just whether it needs a bit of a relief first or not. Would not be thinking about this long right now. starting to hug the flow zones here. If it reprices above that, it might get some relief up into this area before a sell. If it fails this, then it's going to try and gun down here. Remember, your risk reward is getting worse and worse and worse for the short as we go through the day. We've had no major relief. Look at the H1s. No major relief. Look at your M5, M15. No major relief at any point today. So your RR gets worse and worse as we drip down. Remember, we're past the lower Bollinger Bands now on a daily. We are getting worse and worse and worse as we get closer and closer and closer to the liquidity pools. Definitely should not be looking at longs right now. No big volume, no reclaim, no big engulfing candle, nothing like that right now. It's just starting to go sideways. If a long will set up, it will be counter trend. We can think about it later on in the day. All right, we're just over a minute from that initial balance. All right, so if we print the initial balance, let's say the initial balance holds as this is an IBL, we either get a sweep of this, a failed auction, a trade inside, and we can think about a trade back towards VWAP at that point, or we get a continuation underneath and we just keep rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. Right now, they have no ambition in saving this market. You can just look at the mag. It is getting absolutely destroyed. It's getting destroyed. We can probably have a look on FinViz. Let's refresh this. I bet it looks nasty. There we go. Right, that is the market right now. Pretty much all red. Bar a few, if you can see that. So other than healthcare, all right, which is why you have some strength in the spiders. Other than healthcare, market bleeding. It's bear flag. Looks like it's going to play out. Looks like it wants to keep going down here. Mr. 1000 lot back, doing the dance, a bit like yesterday. Spoofing and moving, spoofing and moving. Yeah, initial balance now set. That little purple line starting to be set. So we're going to think about auctions and failed auctions. We can still have an inside initial balance day. All right, we can still have that. We can still trade all the way back up to here and here if it wants. Okay, if we get relief, we can do this move. And it doesn't have to be now. It can be after like a failed attempt under the IB and a reclaim, or failed attempt to clean everything up, lack any targets to go for, and find some relief back up here. All those things are possible. They are all possible right now in the IB. Let's put a little trend on here, shall we? Because it's pretty steep. Something like that. Do not catch the knife today. Do not be first to the market trying to catch that knife. Right, easiest way to blow up. The reason we're down so much is because bulls are getting stuck. Florida man, yeah, the initial balance is just the first hour of trading. So the first hour of trading in the New York session. You can do it for any session, but for what we're trading is New York. So from 9:30 till 10:30, it is the extremes of that. Lots of institutions have to get their orders in that first hour. So that can often set the extreme of the market. And then if we're going to trade outside of the initial balance, it's a trend day. If we're going to fail outside, it's a rotational day. There is a lesson for free on my YouTube, which you can do completely for free, where I go over it all. It's one of the more popular ones on YouTube. Let's see if I can find it for you. Yep, exactly. That's the 1000 lot guy. He keeps spoofing though and moving around just to. He is real, but he's moving his order around. This is the same guy as yesterday. I can already tell. Andrew G, the initial balance video is how you found me. Yeah, lots of people like that initial balance video. I'm trying to find it now. Range breakout. Where's my IB? How to trade the initial balance. There you go. That's the initial balance video. ES at the Feb low. Yeah, SPY I still think can trade down towards 89.90 on the SPY. Kind of the same as the opening range. Yeah, exactly. If you played an opening range for an hour, that would be your initial balance. Exactly that. Exactly that. That's nice to know. Yeah, not many people trade the initial balance. It's odd because it's such a good system. Almost every day you get an IB trade. Well, not almost every day. Every day you get an initial balance trade. Either a failed auction back to VWAP or an auction higher or lower, depending where we are, versus IBL and IBH. Building out some liquidity here at the IBL. And we've got that buyer on that tape, that 1,000 lot. Keeps sort of moving around a little bit. He was at 50. He's moved lower now, trying to get filled a bit lower. And then there's a 168 lot down at 21K. And we have those daily levels, right? We still have a daily level we can go for down at sort of 939 or something, 945. All right, we can take him if we really want to. Watch your sizing today, team. You will get spikes on the ATR as we start to run stops either way. Exactly, JD. That's it, and that's exactly why. That is exactly why. So normally at 10 o'clock, you'll get either a continuation or first type of reversion type play. That's because of the 4-hour bar. Right, so people playing the 4-hour bar. And then after that, you get the IB play. Yeah, capped 100 million trillion gazillion percent. You could make a living trading IB to VWAP. 100%. 100%. Market loves to do that dance. It's trying to find some relief here, all right, but it's still not bullish, but it's trying to find some relief here. Notice the volume is still going downwards as we're printing upside. If that changes, it might get some relief. But really, every pullback is very low volume compared to the sells. It would need to pivot. I mean, technically, it's got to pivot all the way up here, but it is trying to find some relief here. Nothing confirmed. We are underneath the flow zones. We are underneath the downtrend. We are still in a downside structure, and we do have some low-hanging fruit if it really wants to go for it. And just better to let this build out. You can join if it's going to squeeze and you're desperate to join. We can join if and when it's ready. But a bit like yesterday, I prefer it when it cleans out all the liquidity beneath it first, which it hasn't really technically done yet. Trying to attempt that trend. You can see it here. If we're going to start to build something, and it would have been better if it did this, but if we start to build something here and here, we can think about these moves into these VWAPs. But your counter trend, any long today, you have got to be taking money off the table. Shorts can come back in and slam this when they want. Again, we have low-hanging fruit below, which it did not take. It got very close to, and that always is a concern for me. Remember yesterday I said the same thing? We waited until right into the last hour of trading, and then we came back for that low-hanging fruit. Yeah, exactly, Peter. Same for me. So it's trying to find some relief here. those big buyers still didn't get filled, all right? The guys at sort of 30s and 21,000 flat, they did not get filled. Remember, we can still set a lower high here and come back for it. It can be a short-term relief to come back for it. It can trap bulls above this and come back for it. It can do all these things right now. Nothing firmed up for me yet. Into sort of an M5. Just having a look here. Sorry, having to draw everything out on Ninja. So into this imbalance here, remember, this was like on a lower time frame, we can go sort of drop, base, drop, base, drop. Basing out here, can retest this. We either come down here or we get this relief. Starting to attempt to find some relief here, isn't it? VIX trading downside aggressively now. So VIX trying to get back towards its previous day high. That's what the VIX trying to do. Into that M5 imbalance here. If we start squeezing through this, then maybe we can get some bigger relief. I'm watching this. I take it as counter trend. It's not my favorite play. It's probably my least favorite play, especially when we've left that liquidity lower. They are attempting. Need to see volume step in here and start to aggressively drive it. Failure to do so can just mean like a little two try to then go lower. But if we start to get above here and able to sort of create a base above here, we're opening up this sort of play into view up and the deep pullback flow zones. Jack got a little more on that bounce. You love those bottom pickers, my friend. Just be careful. It is starting to look a bit better for you, but nothing confirmed yet. We have that tiny 1 minute pullback onto that potential RBS level trying to hold. I'd like to see a bit more than just a tiny little M1 bar. Might do just a little one of these guys. Little anchor. Not off the actual low, but off where we tried to then pivot. So trying to hold. Does it hold sort of into this anchor, I guess, is sort of what I'm asking. Sort of what I'm asking. Again, nothing confirmed yet for me. We came into that sort of M5 imbalance or fair value gap, whatever you want to call it, finding failures there. Again, we left low-hanging fruit lower. So it really needs to hold this level now. If it can't hold this level now, I'd be a little concerned if I was a bull. Again, you got those buyers on the tape lower, and they're probably acting like magnets right now. That 1,000 lot, did he go? Yeah, he spoofed and disappeared again. He's the same guy as yesterday. I don't like him being on the tape and manipulating the market because 90% of the time he's spoofing rather than actually playing a level. So we are still trend short, remember. Like I said, this can trap buyers above here. If it can't hold this kind of level here, it can trap buyers. Otherwise, it can do this move. The low-hanging fruit trades are down here right now, which scares me a little bit to pull the trigger. These are big, big levels as we go back to test that trend. Big, big levels. So we'll need to get back through flow zones, and really, it's got to trade through 35s and 65s to have any chance of really having any relief. Otherwise, there's a very, very good chance we go and clean up the daily levels underneath. Let's see. Let's see if it holds this tiny little RBS level. It's no reason to think so. Like the The H1's bearish. The daily's like in a bearish move today. The M15 is bearish. The M5 is still bearish. All right. Everything is still bearish right now. Technically, even this is the pivot. All right. It's this that made this, not this. This failed to go lower. So this can be shorts getting trapped if they attempted to go lower, but you'd need to see this hold and then trade up to this level. Can they build out a bull flag here and then get that squeeze? It's attempting, isn't it? It's attempting it. Yes, looking good. VIX still yet to get to previous day high. It's trying to get down towards previous day high. It's not quite there yet. It is trying. Bull flag starting to play, starting to confirm. In this now, looking for a little squeeze. We're already taking some money off the table, and like because the range can be really big, really fast here. Don't want to get a slap in the face, if you know what I'm saying. Need this to just expand higher aggressively. Locking some more in here straight away. RBS levels trying to firm up, the anchor view up trying to firm up. Same things that we do every single day. It needs to hold this and it needs to get a squeeze relief up to here. Then I'd start selling more aggressively in here. If it fails this level, this can just be a bigger build out of a bear flag to come and clean up. Remember, the low-hanging fruit's down here, which is what I'm really concerned about. Very similar to yesterday. When we leave big daily levels not far away, it's a draw on it. Yesterday, we did the same thing, although the range wasn't as big. And what we did yesterday was built liquidity here. We sort of did this move yesterday. Yeah. Engineered all the buys in here and came back for it. Which is why I lack confidence in like big size, full size when we do that. I can show you what I mean. Here, we did the same thing yesterday. All right. So down, W, never sweep this or the daily level, which was here, grind up, previous day low, and good night. The best longs in these situations are when shorts are trapped. And the best way of knowing shorts are trapped is when we've reached all our targets and taken out all the liquidity. All right, if we'd taken out daily levels down here, if we'd done a failed move lower, if this had come down, swept the daily levels, turn inside, then I'm like, okay, there's no reason for higher time frame shorts to be trying to get lower. That means people are chasing here and then we get relief. But this is still looking decent. It's just not A++ for me, but it's still looking decent here. Still holding the anchors, no close underneath the anchor. Still above the trend line, still above these RBS levels, right? Or the other way around. Support becomes resistance. Now it would be, we can call it resistance, becomes support for the long, this here. This is SBR. Once we get up there, this is RBS. Watch the volatility here. Just be careful if you're in this. Isn't spoofing illegal? It is absolutely illegal, yes. But the problem is how do you prove it's spoofing? And how do you not just say, well, I wanted 1,000, I couldn't get filled, I got impatient, and I pulled my order. That's the problem. All right, proving it is the problem. But yeah, trading journey at 40s. I'm almost in the same club as you, mate. It is illegal, yes, from a technical standpoint. All right, team. I'm just going to get a little refill on the coffee, use the bathroom. I'll be right back. Just remember, if you're long, you are counter trend right now. There is no confirmation necessarily. There is low-hanging fruit beneath you. Just remember that, all right? Be pragmatic with that lot. All right, team. Oh, nothing's changed. Literally nothing's changed. All right, so same thing here, guys. Just be careful about the building of liquidity here. It's not like I like this short down here. I hate a short down here. Long is better in terms of risk reward, but you just have to understand that there's some targets down here if it wants to rotate down. All right, but the long in terms of RR is better. It's just not necessarily confirmed very early, but it's trying to hold this and the anchor right now. That's what it's attempting to do. Let's have a look. VIX is almost, it did tap previous day high. Got a little bounce higher and it's trying to tap it again. So let's just see here. Possible some relief is possible here if it flushes under PDH. Most of the market just trading in the same way right now. So remember this, there is a 5-minute little imbalance up here that we keep trading into. If you look at the volume profile, we get a little bit thinner. Right here, this was a kill candle here. Look at the volume, it gets thinner. We do this shape here. So they're trying to protect this because if we get through this, we can potentially trade up to 200. Once we get through that, we can maybe get some bigger relief. Still early though, very, very early. Tesla 7% down. If it goes another 3% down, that will go SSR. I wouldn't mind it doing that. That would help the market find a relief tomorrow. So back to the top of this volume imbalance, market looking like it's very, very much attempting to find some relief here. Trying to trade through that 5-minute imbalance right now. We're right to the top of it. We're banging on it. And if we get through it, it's going to aim for these VWAPs. All right, this is VWAP off New York, and this is the normal VWAP. So that would be the IB rotation to here. Remember, we have all of this as a drop-based drop kind of scenario in supply. Here's the squeeze. So if you're in this, congratulations. Like I said, if it can hold this, it's got this potential here, TP1, TP2, respect these levels. Big old squeeze. And look at VIX failing underneath previous day high now. So you look good here, team. Any of you take that long? Did any of you take that long? You look good here. We're getting near towards that VWAP, towards 190 and 200. I'll let you know if the tape starts to thicken up there. But you look good for now. Nice, Steve. Yeah, looking good. If it can flip this 5-minute imbalance, then it looks really good. You would need a 5-minute close above it. You've got a long way to go to get a 5-minute close above it, but potentially. Make sure you're paying yourself a little bit. Oh, is it really, Peter? I missed that. Let me have a look on my news feed. $52s. I haven't seen, and nothing's House Republicans hold budget talk, so I see what you're talking about. I'm not watching it live. So that IBL holding, and we're getting close to that next level, right? To that VWAP. Lots of you taking it. Steve C with the W, Jack with the W, Brian took it, JD Florida man. Remember, we're in a trend down day, but we are starting to reprice some of this big action lower. Remember, shorts don't want to chase the lows, right? They need relief and good levels to get short up. And very much like yesterday, that bounce up yesterday was for shorts to take a back test of the previous day low. Look where we're trading back into now. Excess underneath here. All right, excess, excess, excess. Trading back to Bollinger Bands. Remember, all these days we come right down, excess, trade inside, trade inside, trade inside. Very rarely you get a close outside of it. Here's one. Very, very rare. Today might be one of those days, but it's just worth paying attention. That's why I didn't like the short near the lows. It gets, like we kept talking about, worse and worse worse and worse risk reward. Okay, so you need to be thinking about this liquidity. I'd be starting to pay myself here. If this starts diving down into here, be very careful. That's where they take it lower. This is your RBS level now. It needs to hold this to do this. If it fails inside this, this is where pro trend takes over again. We've got 5 minutes until a new H1 bar. You can remove these guys now. I'll remove these as well. Yeah, Jeff, that's all right. The longs in this should be much smaller. If you were short this morning, that short should be paying you way more than the longs in this, because the short is pro trend and the long is counter trend. Sorry to hear that, Red Don. Just take your time. Don't try and make it all back in one trade. Yeah, we've got some pretty big candles here every now and again. Just be careful with your ATR. SPY not too far away from its VWAP. So from IBL to VWAP looking probable for SPY. It's trading at 93.22. It needs to get to 93.83. ES needs to get up to 76s, but it's looking possible here. You can see the old RBS levels. That's what we'll need to hold up. Here goes the squeeze. Trying to flag it to go again here. This level here is key, and this anchor, if it can catch up. So if we can go 1, 2, and catch, and set up a nicer play into here and here, it'd be really good. If we fail, like I said, if we fail and come back down in here, you want to be really careful about that rotation. Really careful. If they start to use this level and don't hold it, if they start to use it and trap to go lower, you want to be careful. Remember, the pro trend is still down. Yeah, exactly, Peter. New H1 candle incoming. The H1 chart today looks rather good. This chart here has looked pretty good. So we've left this here if it wants to get up there. I would rather we do this and then get up there. And if we do this tomorrow, this will make sense in so many ways. In so many ways. A weekly model that would make absolute sense for some relief tomorrow. Those who have done the course, think about the weekly model. Think about what we look for on a Tuesday when the weekly model plays out 80% of the time. Think about what this Tuesday could leave for us and what Wednesday could look like tomorrow. It would be magnificent. 2 minutes left until you get a new H1 bar. Aid says, thanks for everything, Alex. Have a safe trading, everyone. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, my friend. Great work today. Fantastic work. Just keep going, buddy. You're looking good. That's a big win today. You're on a nice little roll. Keep stacking them up. Coming back down into that old 5-minute imbalance towards that old anchor view up towards the possible lower time frame RBS level. It will need to find a bid here. Failure to find a bid here will allow it to be a 2-leg pullback for shorts to get into. It wouldn't be a very deep one. 1, 2, if it does this, this is problematic, and we go back and sweep the levels. If it can hold here, like I keep talking about, there's potential for relief up here. You have under a minute left until a new H1 bar here. All right, so just remember that. Well, 1 hour left till lunch. Remember, I want to be out of here before 11:45. It's Fed talkers at 11:45. I want to be out of here before then. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. New H1 bar coming here. Let's see what they do. Do they attack the lows? Do they absorb this and reprice higher? Most of the volume on the day now created at 21,100. So on that last hourly transition is basically where most of the volume in the session has been created. So I'm watching that level. Trading back down towards trend. Got to be careful here. If they start letting go over here, they're opening the door up for this move if they do that. Remember, your longs today are counter trend. Still looks like it wants lower prices at the moment, even though it's inside the initial balance. I'm not executing a short here. Yes, Crawford, absolutely. You do. All right. Just before and just after every new H1 bar, you will get increased volume. All right. Because you have to remember, most traders are not executing on M1 timeframes. Yeah. So on M5 transitions, you might get a bit more. On M15 transitions, you might get a bit more. On H1 transitions, you get a bit more. On H4 transitions, they're 10 o'clock, you get a lot. So 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock Eastern time every day are very, very important. Because they are H1, H4, M15, M5, M2, M1, M3 bars, right? Those, every time frame trader is trading that. Every single time frame trader, other than a daily trader, a swing trader. But everyone is trading intraday. Even swing traders are looking at H4, H1 bars. Hopefully that makes sense. This feels like it wants to go and clean up those lows to me, honestly. Oh yeah, sorry JD, I missed that. Peter just answered it for me. Yes, I use Bookmap. Use Bookmap. I use Bookmap over the DOM and level 2, because I think on the DOM and level 2 you will miss orders when they come in and get filled and move around. It's easy to miss them. On Bookmap you can see, right, it shows you historical data where they've moved, where they've been filled. It's the main reason I like it. I've used it ever since my small cap days. Okay, so now we're sweeping internal low. I still think there's a really good chance to come down here. All right, I don't like short because the RR is rubbish, but there's a very, very good chance to come and clean these out and come for the daily levels lower. All right, so if this was a 2-leg 1, 2 failure, like we talked about, if it gets stuck in here, this rotation, clean this out, clean these guys out, and then at this point, if it wants to do a failed auction, it will be great for the afternoon. If it wants to sustain the auction, then we're going to think about lower prices. We can think about like the 950s that we talked about, the 776s. Oof, that'd be scary if we get down there. These buyers are out the money. I'm going to get rid of that anchor. Take care, Peter. Nice work today. Thanks for showing up again. Appreciate you. That deep pullback flow zone holding up. Didn't even make it to view up here. Just did a 2-try failure. Failure in here. This is where we said you have to be careful. This and this. And then failed auction. Here would be magnificent. That would be really nice. It will open up everything for us. Especially for tomorrow. Especially for tomorrow. That will open up everything. The VIX finding a bid here back well above previous day high. Trading into its imbalance. It wants to push for its IB high right now on the VIX. Repricing some of its levels on the VIX. Buyers on the tape here at 37s and then 100. No big size yet. 21,000, sorry, is decent. 150 lot. But Mr. 1,000 lot spoofer has not been around for a little while. Some Doge news there. I think I just saw 21 employees have left. 21 civil service employees are resigning from Elon Musk's Doge, refusing to dismantle critical public services. US House Speaker, there may not be a vote later on Tuesday. So back towards the IBL. Negotiations ongoing with Canada and Mexico. So I'm just reading this as news hits the wire. So if you see me looking down there, it's because my news terminal comes down here. So just waiting. It's a waiting game right now. We are protecting the IBL. Bias really says we clean up lower. From a technical point of view, don't really want to take a short into the IBL into and beyond the daily Bollinger Band. So it's not really setting up anything for me A+. Like, even though I think there can be a short here down into here, because we have the Bollinger Band here, we're in excess beneath it, and we're not beneath this. There's too many conflicting plays here. All right, the chance of a spring back towards here becomes higher because we're underneath the Bollinger Band. The elastic band can do this. So what I'm going to try and wait for is, rather than take this, ignore this play, which should come down to here, wait for a trade back inside and see if I can grab some of this afternoon. If this afternoon it wants to do this, I'm really okay with that and not trading it, because that will allow a really good trade tomorrow. I think there's a really good chance tomorrow we come back up to these guys. I think there's a really good chance, as long as we stay down here today. Hi, Alec. It is long earlier. 21,750. Good for entry for a target of where would stop loss be? 21,100. 21,175. Up here? No. Are you talking about here, Mike? There's no long pattern here. I'm assuming that you've mistyped that. We will set reciprocal tariffs for a digital services tax. Like I said, this is probability to come down here right now. It's just I don't like the RR on it, but it makes sense that it's going to do it. 21,000, 1,200. Here. As in when we're drifting down, there's no long here because we're in a down cycle. We're in a down cycle, so we're protecting. This is just lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. If we get back above this, maybe, but then we're already above VWAPs. So like when we were here earlier, definitely no long. There was no long around here. Possibly later in the day, they might set something up. But really, you're then playing. If you're looking at 200, you're then playing into an H1 level, right? If you're looking at that for later in the day, you're going to enter a long once we've filled an imbalance. That's not ideal, right? You expect some sellers to maybe come in here or here. So I still think this probably wants to drift lower. All right, the short probably is good, but it's just, it goes against my rules, so I'm not taking it. I'm sticking to my rules. I don't want to short inside the initial balance, outside the Bollinger Bands, right? That goes against my rules. Is the only reason I'm not taking it is it goes against my rules. I think the drift or the search for liquidity can be lower still, but it goes against my rules, so I don't execute it. I stick to my rules. Cannot initiate a short trade, even though it can do it, because we are protecting this. And then what do we have here? This is demand. So I don't really want to short here. The shorts are up here right now. So I stay out this trade because the RR isn't there, and I wait. I either wait for that failed auction or I wait for a pivot up and to tell me it's ready to go and search higher. You've got Trump news constantly hitting the wire right now, guys. Constantly hitting the wire. That's all right, Mike. Let me know the right level, and I'm happy to look over it for you, buddy. So, still think this bear flag can set up. I still think this is trying to set up. If this is within your parameters, by all means, take it. It's just not something I want. JD Florida Man, QQQ and SPY are sitting just above price from 15th. Yeah, so the SPY I think can trade down to, I think I talked about it earlier, 589.90-ish, and the QQQ down to 508.50s if they're going to get going. And you've got news hitting the wire right now. Starting to build lots and lots and lots of liquidity down here. Most of the volume on the session has been created here. Most of the volume on the session has now shifted down to 21,067. All right, so most of the volume is here now. All right, if shorts get stuck down here, this is where you get relief. If the buyers get stuck down here, this is where you get the wash. I'm not entering here because it doesn't fit my parameters right now. I understand what it can do, but it's not fitting my parameters, so I don't execute, right? I do not execute. Yeah, this can potentially be the bear flag. Remember we said head and shoulder. We were talking about it when it was up here. If it trades back down in this range, this can trap buyers up here and facilitate this down here. We talked about it. When we were up here, we talked about this. If you rewind to like, I don't know, 1050s, 1055, I talked about this. If it cannot hold this RBS level, if it cannot hold the anchor VWAP, which was here, if it trades underneath, sets up a head and shoulders, bear flag for that right shoulder, likely to try and retest IBL and then clean everything up. The problem is, for me, is the Bollinger Band and the IBL. I do not want to short really in front of the IBL and outside the Bollinger Band. It just goes against my rules. That's all it is. Doesn't mean this doesn't go lower. It's very high probability of going lower right now, in my opinion, but I just cannot execute this trade based on my rules. I think we have a session of buying at the top of those gaps before filling the gaps. Maybe. I think that the market needs some relief. You're talking about the gap on the SPY that starts at 89.18 down to 85. I see exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, I would agree. The market probably will want some relief. But whether it gets it or not is a whole nother thing, right? Have a look at the Qs. There's a gap on the Q. I mean, it's the gap on the Qs is, other than till settlement, has actually pretty much been filled before. The spiders look more intent in needing to trade lower. So who gets stuck down here? We're building liquidity now. Who gets stuck? Do the buyers get stuck or the sellers get stuck? That's what the market needs to decide right now. And it will decide. It will get someone stuck. Everything trading beneath its VWAPs right now. Remember that. Everything is in a bear trend. Any long today will be a short squeeze relief. We made good money today. You should have made good money on the short without me that we talked about. You should have made good money on these breaking down to here. And you had the possibility of taking counter trend long to here. And if you want to trade this short, you can. It's not something I'm looking to trade, but there is a setup there. It's a little higher risk, but there is a setup here. But it's not something I'm looking to trade just because of my rules. But it's there if you want. Remember, the Fed is talking right now. Where will shorts get stuck? Shorts will get stuck if this fails to break down underneath the IBL. Right? If it fails to break underneath the IBL, the shorts will get stuck in this. So will the sellers get stuck if we get above the RBS? Shorts probably started entering the market here and here. Their risk will be here right now, right? If you're a bigger guy, you're short here, you're risking this, and they're looking to add and looking for a flush through here. They'll start covering some position here. If it doesn't break these lows, this is where they start to get stuck. If they start adding down here and we start turning up here, then they get stuck. And it's trying to protect this so far. If they break this, shorts are in the money, they get the move that they're looking for. They protect the IBL, and they start pivoting above here, and then above here, then a squeeze is on. We can also, just as a reminder, we can also build out a range here. All right, we're tapering, right? So we went from this to this to this. Right, this can be a range. It doesn't have to be a relief range. It can be a range to trap buyers to go lower. And just think about those who've done the course. Think about what we've got today. This is major tapering. Really steep, less steep, less steep, sideways. It's nice to have that lovely, understandable British accent in the background while you trade. I don't know if everyone would agree with you, Gus, but I appreciate it. Oh, my eyes are starting to get tired. I'm going to definitely go back to bed today. I'm supposed to get a workout today, but I really have not slept at all. 40 minutes left until we get to lunch. Still watching the hourly bar. Still think this has a potential to trade lower. Not initiating any longs in this market here until it really, really, really proves itself to me. Really needs to prove itself. Sellers all the way up at 300 right now. That'd be a back test of the Asia or Globex low. Gus. Let's just see how this acts. We've been down here for quite some time now. Over an hour and 10 minutes down here. This is trading back towards where those shorts started piling in. We can think about that exchange that we had. Remember, volume now is beneath us. Most of the volume on the day is at 67. Most of the volume on the day is here. So if we keep holding above, or 67, so more like here. If we keep holding above this and squeeze above this, it can do this. But we can also go up to be sold. Remember, the shoulder is like this up here somewhere. So again, I just don't. Is not something I'm looking to trade yet. It will become clear and obvious. I want really clear setups. The best trade for me will be if it does this, trade inside, flow zone, support it, relief back to here. That'd be the best trade. I'd rather look at a long now than the short personally, but I'd rather the short plays out first. Very much like yesterday, what I was looking for. Tesla now 8% down, 8.2% down. Remember, once that goes 10% down, we get an SSR day. Market's still heavy. Like Apple, the strongest in the market right now. Relative strength, incredible. 8.2%, 8.22% down from Tesla. 2.69% down Nvidia. Meta 3.12% down. Google over 2% down, Amazon just under 3% down, Microsoft 1.22% down, and Apple 0.2% down. Still building out the bear flag here. Bias is still lower from a technical point of view. Again, cannot repeat it enough. Bias right now is lower prices. There's nothing in this chart saying it needs to go higher yet. It doesn't mean it can't. Just nothing yet saying that. My bias would be lower prices. I'm not trading it lower because we're trading inside the initial balance right now. So that thesis is off the table because a rotational play becomes possible. I've got conflicting things right now. We're inside the initial balance. Can I execute a short by the IBL? No. We're outside the daily Bollinger Band. Can I initiate a short outside the daily Bollinger Band with my strategy? No. So I can't take the short. Is there a long setup? No. There's no long setup. So I can't initiate a trade right now. So there's no clicking buttons. So once you know, I've had a few guys message me recently who keep blowing up over and over and over again. And I say to them, what's your strategy? What is your strategy? Do you know what plays you're executing on? You've got to know your plays first. Like, what is your tick list? Are you a pullback trader? Is there a trend? Are you playing pro trend? Is there a pullback to a key level that you're looking for? Must know your strategy. If you're new to trading, I would say stick to one strategy at a time. The easiest strategy to play, in my opinion, are the pro trend pullback trades. So once you understand the higher time frame, what is the pro trend, where it's higher or lower, and then execute that on the lower time frame. That is the easiest trade in the book, right? It's the easiest trade. It will be much more forgiving for you if you're a bit messy in your placement of execution, and it will also give you the best risk reward. Right? It's likely to go in your direction faster. The hardest trade to take is to pick that reversal because you are trading against the higher time frame. It's the hardest trade to take. So longs at the moment are the hardest trade to take in this market. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. JD Florida Man, the trend is my friend. Trend trees 81, the pullback trend. Exactly that. They're the easiest trades in the book. So focus on those. If you're newer, I would say focus on those. Here comes the bear flag starting to break down. Remember, they need to take out the IBL to go lower for this to not trap shorts. All right, for it to not trap shorts, they will have to take out the lows. This is basically the neckline. Think about this. Here's your shoulder, here's your head, here's your shoulder. It's a bit of a quasi here, but a little bit messy. This is basically the neckline. If they're going to take that out, we can maybe think about a measured move. Let's see if that gets us to a key level. Oh, look at that. The 161 gets us right into that daily level that we're expecting it to go to. So expectation from a fib point of view also makes sense if they can get this to go. Again, if they cannot break that IBL, they can't get the follow through to the downside, that is when the shorts will get stuck. I'm on the wrong chart for you, aren't I? Here we go. Expectation. Fib of the range. 161 takes us into the bottom side of that box. The daily play that we're looking at. That daily wick from Monday, Feb the 3rd. This is the low of it. All right. So if the 161 plays here, here's your neckline, shoulder, head, shoulder. If they can get this to break down, they get this play here. They need to get under here. If they protect this, shorts get stuck, then we rotate. Yeah, I would always say focus on the pro trend. Once you get past focusing on the pro trend, try and identify it into legs. So are you in the first accumulation or first distribution leg? Like, are you in the first pullback or a second pullback, for example? And then you can start thinking about targets and risk reward. And once you get through second and third pullbacks, on a higher time frame, we can think about, okay, where's exhaustion? Then you can start thinking about, what does a reversal look like? Where does that reversal come in? That's the harder trade to take, is the reversal. And you don't need to be early on the reversal. Don't need to join it on an M1 because you think the M1 is going to pivot. You can wait. Don't be early to a party. Don't even get there on time. Get there when the party is happening, when it's popping off. Join when the momentum's there, when it feels good. If you're there early or there right on time, you're probably going to get bored real quick and get shaken out. Yeah, lovely trend tree. Yeah, first and second pullback pro trend. Best trades in the book. Best trades in the book. They're still trying to get this breakdown of this bear flag. Remember, we're underneath big daily levels on the Bollinger Bands, but the draw is lower towards the bottom end of this right now. If they can get the expansion through here, all right, and they sustain this, this is the target for them on the daily for next low-hanging fruit. Beyond that, we'd have to come all the way, down into here. If they continue to go risk off, that's where they're going to look to trade to. Remember, if they do a failed break of here or protect it, that's where they get squeezed. But this bear flag is looking like it's playing out. If you played this, that's fine. It goes against my strategy, but if you played it, it's fine. It's not really against my strategy. It just goes against a couple of big rules that I have. But it makes sense. Like I said, it should want to attack lower. The pro trend is lower right now. If they get this breakdown, it should wash. You've got buyers on the tape at 21,000 flat. It is your IBL. So if you took this, I would say maybe pay yourself a tiny, tiny, tiny piece here. And remember, there's a buyer into 21,000 flat. And then through him, you're looking for a trade all the way down into the lower side of this box, into sort of 50. All right, so there's another 50, 60, 70, 80 points on the table here if they let it go. If they let that IBL go. It wants to break down. It really, really, really wants to break down here. It's a big if it can get to that next level. They protect this low, shorts will get in trouble. But so far, you look good. Did any of you take the short? Or any of you in it? Nice, Christy. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you can still hold runners. It can still move much lower. Makes sense. It just goes against a few of the things that I look for, like I said, but it makes sense. We can start cleaning up some of this now. IBL is going to be key. It's basically the neckline. It's a very, very big level. It's an hourly low as well. I'd be very cautious about sweep underneath and a turn inside from both an hourly perspective and an initial balance perspective. You haven't swept it on any level yet, leaving all the liquidity there. This is so similar to yesterday. Same kind of thing. What club do I go for in the Prem? As in, who do I support? I'm an Arsenal fan, so last weekend was not the best for me, unfortunately. Ryan Cohen's in. Keogh, sorry. Jeff Stewart in it. Max, one more trade. I'm good for the day. $7,475. Lovely work, Max. Yeah, see you tomorrow. Good work, mate. So you'd want a little bear flag here to sort of build out versus this for the next continuation if you're really, really looking to hold your runner. Well, hopefully you've paid yourself a little bit, just a little bit of money. There's buyers on the tape here at 25, and then you're looking for that 21,000. Hey, that's all right. If you only went over by $3, they're not gonna punish you for that. They are not going to punish you for that. Don't worry. So is that last drive up? They're trying to fill that imbalance. If they don't let go of this low, it will be problematic. They must let go of this low. That last drive up and fail is very nice. This is what we're talking about. If it fails versus this imbalance and flow zones, let me draw for the team. All right, and builds a new bear flag. This is where you can potentially get that continuation. If they start repricing above this, I would not be in this short then. If they start getting through these levels, I would not be in it short. Right now, it looks good for you. You definitely want to try and get a flush moment here if they can. Down to that 21,000. There you go. Boom. There you go, team. So hopefully pay yourself a little bit. Now you've broken that low, so you need to be cautious of the failed auction. Can still trade lower, but remember, we've just done a lot of damage here to all the bulls. Can still trade lower, 21,000, and then down to here. So hold your runners if you can. Remember, that last failed attempt to go higher was very, very nice. That's the bear flag. Hold your runners now, 21,000, and then all the way down to here. These are the next targets for you. But you should have paid yourself. Your stop should be in the money, and you should be comfortable with just letting this run out now. Christy, it's because we're in a big market at the moment. We've got, how many points have we done this morning off New York now? Like 400 plus points or something. 369 plus a bit, coming to 400 points. So micros will pay you in these markets. Yeah, well, not zero bulls, Gus. Not zero bulls. Actually, a decent amount of bulls, right? So bulls started trying to guess the bottoms here and here, like we took for this move, right? This move here and this move. But what they didn't do is respect this. So once we broke down, it's actually these bulls here, right, that caused this problem here. So bulls average price is here. We get under it, trade back into it. They start becoming sellers, right? They fail to hold this. So those bulls get liquidated, which is what allows this move. Just so you understand, because if you can reframe your head to understand who's stuck, it will help you. I talk about that a lot on stream. Understand who's stuck. Bulls got stuck with an average price here, right? And they bid up, hoping to get up here. It was possible to do it. It didn't do it. It failed. You must respect it when it fails. The short thesis, pro trend, then drifts lower, liquidating all these bulls. It's their positions which have allowed us to drift lower. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Tesla. Oh, yeah, it is. You're right, Andrew. It's very close, isn't it? 9.3% down now on Tesla. I didn't see if it hit 10% down already. Let me have a look. Has it drifted any lower, or is that lower day? That's pretty much low of day. So, yeah, Tesla trying to go SSR. Good eyes there, Andrew. Great eyes there. Getting very close to trading into the gap now on the spiders. Remember, this was a big level that we said we trade into, 89. The start of the gap now is 89.37. Where's the end of that gap? Much, much lower. Qs as well, still in that gap. So coming down into these key levels. Now we've washed out that 21,000. We can keep going lower. We can keep going lower right now, all right? The next daily level we're looking for is this guy right here, all right? If you can't see it on the daily, let's just go over it so you understand what I'm looking at. This level right here, and through them, this and this. These are the guys that I think need to be cleaned up. Now, I think this gut says it happens next week, right? Gut says we get something like this tomorrow, Thursday, Friday maybe, and then boom, maybe even on Friday. But these guys need to get cleaned up. I've been saying it since we were here last year. Anyone that traded me November, December last year will know what I'm talking about. These guys must get cleaned up. But it's a big move today, outside of the Bollingers, starting to find some form of reaction here. Remember, a turn back inside can be a failed auction. Be very, very careful here. You're not far away from lunch. It's a decent reaction here. You would want to see them resell this down in these levels. If we start printing above here, I'm going to think about a long, especially if the flow zones support this action. I want to really get above this pivot. This made this, so I want to see this maybe through here and then up. I know that's messy, but hopefully it makes sense. Until then, I'm not thinking about a long. I'm not thinking about a long until then. Most of the volume now at 75s, right? 75 will be key. So your current point of control right here, right? Above that, maybe relief. Until then, still think down here is possible. ES then just tapped its IBL and rejected it, all right? Jack, you are a risky dude. You are a risky dude. Snooker Pro saying, love your explanations, Alex. Thanks, Snooker. Max, love to stay. I feel it going lower, but I have to pick my daughter up. See you all. Max, you should be long off the chart, my friend. You made a ton of money today. Go and enjoy your day with your family. Remember, we trade for freedom, and that includes time. Nice trades today on Stream Team. Nice trades. So it's trying to come back up through the IBL. ES trying to do the same. Remember, there is possibility for a failed auction here. We did tap the top of that gap just about on the SPY. VIX is failing inside its initial balance. So it did do a clear out of the high and it's failing inside. So the question is, does it base around here on the VIX or not? Again, there is relief potential. I'm not looking for the long yet. There is absolutely nothing confirmed for the long right now. You're 25 minutes until you get to lunch. There's still a low-hanging fruit to go lower if it wants to. Nice work, team. Lunch is on Max, yeah. Max can order a takeaway for us all. So inside the initial balance right now, coming back up to current point of control. Most of the volume on the day is 21,068-ish, or let's call it 70. All right, so how we act here is important. Thank you, Trend Treat. It's just a lot of years on the chart. That's all it is. Still no long confirmation, remember, but you guys were smart, all right? And then we got a rebuild here, a failure here, and you guys took profits into these. So now the question, if it starts doing this, I would not be holding shorts above here. All right, if it starts to reprice this, this will be the range. This will be failure underneath if we reprice. And if we can get above this, this will be view up. This will be a rotation to view up 1, view up 2. Not looking for longs yet. There's no reason for me to be thinking about longs yet. Look at the structure. All right. 2-leg pullback, failure, pullback, failure. This can be pullback, failure. This will change if we get above this. Above this will be very similar to here when we create an RBS level and we flag above and look for a squeeze. Counter trend, what would the targets be? Right here and then up here. Again, the market is heavy. If you're looking for longs today, you're betting against the market. Look at the mag. Got absolutely wrecked today. All right, so I had one attempt at a long really close to the bell this morning in case we went in squeeze mode. We didn't. And then we went short for the rest of the day. Exactly, Matt. We trade for freedom. That's why we trade. All right. Process-based, forget the financial, the monetary value of it. We trade for freedom, and that includes time. More news hitting my wire here from Trumpy boy. Let's have a look what's going on now. US Steel and Nippon Steel seek meetings with Trump administer in a bid to salvage the deal. Okay. I'll catch up with some stuff here. Apple shareholders reject the proposal of AI policies. Oof. Interesting. I have to read up on that. There's still no long trigger. All those big orders though on the book have been filled, right? There's not like there's a bid down below right now, like looking to get filled. The only thing down below is the daily pool of liquidity, all right, that we're looking at. Nothing else. It's not like I'm seeing buyers on the bid down here. There are sellers, but they're small lots now. Most people have been filled. Most people probably starting to leave into lunch. There's a small pool of sellers into and in front of 100, and then it gets a little bit thin all the way up to 300. There's no reason to be thinking long yet. If we can pivot above here, maybe. And even that's still counter trend. It's high risk. It is high risk. I'll be with you here another 20 minutes. And I'll get out of here. Left you on the wrong stream, didn't I? Sorry, team. Sorry, team. All right, so watching these levels, lots of stops here at 98s, and then these are some of the relief levels. We'll need to do that. If it just steals this, we go all the way back down. There's a ton of stops there. All the short seller stops are there. So I'd want to see us get above those and base above those to think about anything else. If we're going to build liquidity here, I'm not going to take it. And I want to see them build liquidity here. Flow zones start to support action, go upside. Remember, there's still low-hanging fruit down here. Very much like yesterday, we keep leaving low-hanging fruit below. Almost at 100 likes. 9 more likes on the stream, we get to 100. That would be nice. Who can help me do that? We 100 done. Happy days. Just sat here waiting Waiting to see how we act. Coming into lunch now, remember. You should have made most of your money on the day. Just remember that. You should have banked most of your money already. We've now got, I remember I said I wasn't going to trade from this point onwards, from quarter two, right? Bar, I think it's Bar, is now about to talk. Check what I said to Discord this morning. Yeah. Michael Barr, vice of the chair. He is about to start speaking. So might, depending on what he says, you might get an injection of liquidity. So just be aware of that. Things can change very, very quickly. Just trying to build that bull flag, but it's too early yet to take it. Far too early yet to take it. You are not in confirmation higher yet. Remember, he starts talking in 15 minutes. You're right. Point of control is right here. Remember that. Point of control is right here. It's a big level. Above that, maybe potential relief. Up until the next stop level, maybe. Just trying to do that bull flag we talked about. But it's still early. It is still early to execute on this flag. Just as a reminder. If you're taking this, you'll definitely counter trend. Seems like the top times to trade are always within the first hour of open. Afterwards, it seems to get wobbly. I don't think so. I think it just depends on those market conditions. Every day is different. Depends on the market conditions coming into that open. ES is trying to hold its IBL and trying to do like an inverse head and shoulder. NQ is trying to do something very, very similar. Remember, we've left. What did I just see there? We've left liquidity lower. It's trying to squeeze up here. It's what the market wants to do, is squeeze upside right now. So if you get this, you're very, very early, but that's what it's trying to do. It's trying to squeeze upside. It wants to come and take out these stops that we talked about. How we act when we get up here will be key. If we start basing above this, we can have more relief, especially if the flow zones start supporting price action to squeeze up to VWAP and VWAP and this level here. This is what it wants to do. It's looking for squeeze relief, but it's early. It's technically not in a buy until here on a lower time frame. Your M5 and M15 is still very much in a sell. It's going to take a lot to change that. What is Tim Cook just saying there? Apple will be the largest customer of TSMC Arizona factory. Fed's bar. Now's the time to look at risks to financial stability. Okay, doesn't make any sense. Monetary policy is inextricably tied to stability. Inextricably, sorry. Now's the time to look at risks to financial stability. Oh, okay, to assess risks is what he means. It's a big level here. Remember, all their stops are around sort of 94, 95. That's where the short stops are right now. That's what it's looking to take out. It wants to take out those short stops at 94, 95. How we act once we get there will become pivotal. Remember, we have left low-hanging fruit underneath, but we have technically a failed auction. We have not sustained an auction underneath the IBL. Do not fully trust this personally for relief, especially when someone's talking. But it's possible. It is absolutely possible this wants to give some relief. So it's running for those stops. Remember, it's looking for those stops into 94, 95s. That's where it wants to go. It wants to trade through those stops and then push up through those, and then we see what's what. There you go. So there's the relief through those stops. Now we have to see how it acts beyond that point. Does it start to base out here and provide a way of getting higher above this? Might need to like build liquidity to do it. But we've just run out all those shorts that we talked about. Where's liquidity on the book? Starting to get a bit thin into lunch. We get through here, we can go all the way up to 60. It's possible to get up to 60 here. If it really wants to get going, we've got a bit of an imbalance here, but it's possible to get up to 60 if this really, really, really wants to get going. That'll be the edge of this range up here. This is the next stop level. Oh, draw this in. This level here and view up. Right, that New York anchored view up. So ideally, the better move would be if it pulls back and holds to confirm it. But if shorts are cooked underneath that IBL, that's where they're going to be stuck. Remember, we said their pain point will be here. This was the bear flag. If they didn't cover here and they added here, their pain point would be here. So if we pull back in and we hold that pain point, we go for the next level up. Hopefully this is all making sense to you. You'd really want to see it hold around 100 or just under 100. Is it 100? Yeah, 100. It can hold around that on a dip back inside. And then it's got a chance, or 94, 95, then it's got a chance to go for those short-term highs up here at 60 and then for VWAP. Those are the plays that are possibly setting up if it really wants to. Just seems like it's in a hurry to go straight up, not doing any pullback. Miguel, boss, I'm done for the day. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. It's in a hurry to get to 60 right now. It is definitely in a hurry to get to 60 right now. So all of the market doing that failed auction underneath. VIX coming back towards previous day high. Very close to lunch now, 9 minutes, under 9 minutes. Remember that. So ideally you want a pullback into that old RBS level to hold, and then that will facilitate you to look for a bullish play up towards these VWAPs and higher. Flow zone's trying to turn. It's still very early, guys. These are just M1 flow zones. We are above point of control, though. Shorts definitely are stuck lower right now. So it needs to keep them stuck lower for a move back to take out that sort of internal high. So can this hold sort of 95-ish or so on the pullback? That's the question I would ask. If it's able to hold that level, or maybe even down to 70s, it's going to really test where we just squeezed out from. But ideally, a little bit higher. Can it hold a little bit higher? And then come and take out 60s. Where's VWAP? New York VWAP 58 there. That kind of level up here is where it wants to go. It's just how does it get there? Does it need to come down here or here to build that to get there? If it starts failing in here again, it's going to be very much like earlier and go down. But really, the draw right now, the immediate draw is this level here. This is where it wants to get to. Absolutely where it wants to get to. trying to flag it again to go here. They're having another attempt without really any major pullback. So shorts are definitely a bit stuck in this right now. Those flow zones start to cross, it will really help as well. This is in a hurry now. Come on, we need a big old pullback here, otherwise we're not going to get anything. Remember, you've got a Fed talker right now as well, so you are at risk of him saying something and market reacting to it. Trading back into an old M5 imbalance. To move all my lines around on Ninja Trader. Keep forgetting to update them when I update everything on TradingView. Double top on the VIX. Yeah, well, it peaks through it, but it's trading back towards previous day high now. So it depends how it acts at previous day high. If it starts letting go and trades back down towards the IBL, then we get more relief, but we just have to see. Just have to see. It's a little bit steep here. Again, much rather see it trade into sort of this area before it does it. Otherwise, you're buying near the top right now of the current range. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, what I mean is it's kind of better than a double top because it took the level out first. So I kind of prefer that to a double top. How it acted, I mean, I'm watching M5 or M10 bars, but how it acted at like 11:30 New York time, cleaned out the highs and then came back down inside the range. Now back to previous day high. The problem here is if it bases at previous day high. Struggling a bit here in this old M5 imbalance. It should move higher, but we want a pullback before it does it. Please. It's in a hurry. Oh, we're going to go. It is in a hurry to take out those stops into 60. Oh, it's almost there. Almost there. If you're in this, make sure you pay yourself a little bit. Hold runners because it can explode through 60 if it wants to. It can really, really explode through that. What a beautiful trade. We talked about it down here. I would have really liked this to trade it back inside. All right, I did grab a tiny piece here, not very much, paying myself straight away because I don't like that it didn't come back and test. But that is a signature that shorts are absolutely trapped because it doesn't want to let them out. Right, so next level, if you're paying yourself here, next level you're looking for is you trade up into VWAP up here. All right, extension into this. Make sure you're selling into that extension. Let's think about the H1. H1 can reprice into 210, which is pretty much under VWAP. Why am I saying 210? I'm looking at this higher time frame and it repricing to that previous H1 low. So look at this, trapped here into previous. Look, it's almost there already. Bang. Almost there already. So make sure paying yourself into this H1 low. And if we get through that, we're looking at VWAP. And if we get through that, maybe all the way up into the old breakdown level. All the way into here as possible. So shorts got trapped. All right. What is the trap that we talk about? It's the failed auction underneath IB. Where did that happen? Right here. It's why I said, why I was cautious about thinking about that short. We pivoted back inside. This would have been really nice to hear. Didn't quite get it. So I had to join here for this move here. If we can keep going, we keep going and going and going. This is squeeze now, though. Do not be adding here. Look how far up we are. Do not be adding when we've just squeezed up and run all those stops out. The reason these are straight engulfing candles is this is shorts getting blown out of the market, right? That's why we get that engulfing candle. That's why I said make sure you hold a bit because it can get explosive. So we should get some back test at some point. All right. So your new sort of RBS level you'd want to back test is where those shorts got stuck. So ideally, somewhere in here would hold. All right, ideally somewhere in here would hold. Yeah, because this is really the leg, and now we're pivoting above. So that would give you that sort of W look, that you're running out of targets. But if we're going to hold and go counter trend and trade all the way back up into this level here, this is an old anchor VWAP, and this is Globex. This orange box is Globex. Remember, every long today is a counter trend long. You're a counter trend long. Some point shorts will want to come back in. If it bases here, no, I don't like adding counter trend, Ryan. So I'd consider a new position here, I guess, if we can hold. The problem now is also lunch. Yeah, but there's possibility to drift into here and all the way up here if it really gets going. But remember, this is really the low-hanging fruit was to here. Next level is here. If we rotate, we go back down again. We've got unfinished business down here. But this made sense. This was high risk. This was better if it came a bit deeper, but then forced me to join for that. Not much liquidity on the tape. There is a buyer down at 21,000. All right, team. I'm going to use a bathroom quickly. I'll come back and then I'll give you a little thought on what we can do next. ES hit the VWAP, as did SPY, as did QQQ. All right, everything else has just tapped the VWAP and finding sells there. Be aware of that. I'll be back very, very shortly. All right. Daniel Suarez, thank you so much. I just passed my eval amount. Congrats, buddy. Great work. Say thank you to me, but you're the one that has to pull those triggers, right? You have to know when to buy and sell, so well done. Right, so we're trying to base here on that RBS level, right, and on this anchored VWAP, this dark green line from the New York Open. There is potential for a squeeze higher here, all right, but your low-hanging fruit is gone. The next level is here and then here. The only thing I would say, if you look at ES, if you look at the SPY, if you look at the QQQ, they've all tapped into their main VWAPs, as in this bright green line, and failed. They found sellers. The other thing to consider is we are in a sell, all right? We are in a sell higher time frame. So this can be a pullback for them to try and go lower again. I think if they go lower, I think we probably just do this the rest of the day. Maybe we do that move, but I wouldn't surprise me if we range. Let's think about this in terms of a fib on the session. There we go, right into 50% as well. So I'd want to be cautious here, thinking about longs. The max, I'd be very uncomfortable once we get up here, thinking about any longs for the remainder of the day. All right, into this, remember, drop, base, drop. Now we're doing this move here. Okay, I'd be risk off here. I'd definitely be risk off here. It'd be runners only at that point. You've had the best plays of the day, I promise you. If you're still in this long, you can hold some runners, but you'd want this RBS level to hold for you. We caught the shorts early in the day. We had one attempt long for the scalp. We then flipped back short for the move back underneath IBL, and then we flip back long for the drive back in towards VWAP. I really don't see what else we could have got today. We've tried everything. We've done really, really well here, team. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream. A bit more positivity today than yesterday, which is fantastic. And I'll be back tomorrow morning. Hit me with W's in chat before I leave. Let me know who had a big fat green day. And tomorrow morning, we're going to do the same thing. Exactly the same thing tomorrow. The same repeatable patterns. I forget who said it earlier. Someone earlier said, the more you look at it, the more you think you could have a whole career out of trading the IBL or the IB high to VWAP. Totally agree. And we've just done it again. Every single day we see it. Fantastic work. So thanks everyone in chat. All of you guys with these W's. Andrew G, Christy W, BU. That's fantastic to hear. I'm glad to hear it, BU. Serve, Kills, Crawford, Thumper, Tim J, Trentry81, Andrew G, Cat786. There you go. It was you, Cat, wasn't it? It was you that said that. Yeah, lovely. Couple of great trades right up to the VWAP, just like you called. Willa Williams, Steve C, Yulimar, Matt Trader, Daniel Suarez, Daniel G, Daniel C, Leron, Matt Trader. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys joining. Don't forget, I'm here every single day. Your support means a lot. If you want to turn up every day and help me grow this stream, send it to your mates. It would mean a lot. If you want to learn about how I trade, right? If you want to learn more about my teachings here, how I teach you every day, how I'm able to see the market, what it wants to do, my thesis, do yourself a favor, just do the course. I promise you, 20 hours on demand. Okay, it's an in-depth course. You get my indicator suite with it. You get access to my Discord for free. It is a one-time fee. I promise you, it will be the best course you do. It is not some flimsy BS course trying to take your money. It's well worth investing in yourself. There's no pressure to do it. I'm going to be here every day anyway. But if you want to learn some really, really good edge in the market, do the course, do yourself a favor. I'll see you tomorrow. Trade safe. Use hard stops. Please use hard stops. Be kind to yourself. Peace and love.